there are times where I was like the only person in center field at Busch Stadium pregame, and they're just like towels. You're like, I hope a tiger doesn't come out of the dugout like Gladiator.
Yo, Munir. Creativity. The happiest guys on the internet. What's going on, brother? Yo, Munir.
Yo, Tom Rome.
So we are on?
Welcome to the show, buddy.
Oh, boy. Yo, Munir. Yo, Robert. How much fun is this?
It's great to see you.
You too, fellas. Very nice to see you. I think the last time the three of us hung out, it was at the Village Idiot on the corner of 9th Avenue and 14th Street.
Which is no longer there.
It's
Well,
here.
the corner is there, but
It's here.
Yeah. Well, the corner is there. Thanks. I remember actually, Tom, and I walked in with my brother Rob and everybody, and it was like 11 a.m.
stop it.
And everybody's like, "Hey,
And it was-
Rob!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Rob, what are you doing?" Where you know the locals who are at the bar at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't believe anything that's being said.
Yeah,
We're going to have a disclaimer on this podcast.
For sure.
believe nothing.
This is just for the archives. It will never be released.
Like all things social media, take it with a grain of salt.
Well, there you go.
So,
Well said.
Trust but
Well said.
verify.
Well said. Well, welcome
Yo,
to
Rob.
Yo Munir.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
Moo.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
Who's in the
Thanks,
room with us today, Rob?
Munir, I'm so glad you asked. Welcome to Yo Munir, a show celebrating practice and creativity hosted by the happiest guys on the internet. I'm Rob Haddad, a former producer and director who spent his career in sports, media, and technology.
And I'm Munir Haddad, co-founder of award-winning advertising agency Kiosk and a strong proponent of stakeholder capitalism, if I can say proponent.
I don't know why you always change that up. A firm believer in stakeholder capitalism. I can read your line better than you can.
That's because you wrote it, Rob.
Stakeholder capitalism. I got to get into that.
Yeah, see, we're going to get into it.
Well, on today's show, we're welcoming a very special guest, Tom Rome.
Oh. I thought you were
Tom
talking about-
Rome is many things. Emmy Award-winning cinematographer, inventor, educator, and comedian. And that's just the start. Tom spent years behind the lens at MLB Productions, where he worked as a director of photography and cinematographer, helping bring America's pastime to life on screen. His work earned him an Emmy Award, a testament to the craft and dedication he brought to every shoot. And if you're wondering just how far that passion for performance goes, Tom once auditioned for the Blue Man Group. Beyond the camera, Tom is an inventor. He created a wiffle ball inflatable backstop because apparently when inspiration strikes, it strikes everywhere. And when he's not in the classroom or on set, you'll find him behind a drum kit in a rock band. A commitment so deep, he played multiple songs at his own wedding. Today, Tom channels all of that energy into the next generation of media professionals as a teacher at Bergen Tech, one of New Jersey's top career and technical schools. Welcome, Tom Rome.
Tom Rome!
Thank you, guys. Rob, that was when you sent that over and I read it. So I am mildly prepared. Certainly more prepared than you saw me trying to connect the headphones and microphone. But intellectually prepared because I did read what you put together, and to hear it again from you, it's just really flattering. It's really humbling. It's very nice. And I don't keep up with my resume enough. I just go from lily pad to lily pad, but to kind of hear it, packaged together from somebody that could articulate it that way, I really appreciate that. That's a nice introduction.
Wow. Well, I will tell you, that has been a common response to Munir or I reading the bios of our guests. And I think it's a really good reminder, and I mean this sincerely, a really good reminder for us to check in with ourselves and remind ourselves what we've accomplished in life, because it's worth celebrating. So well done, Tom. Well done.
Well, thank you for reminding me.
There you go. There you go. I pretty much have pictures documenting almost everything that I've read at some point in our lives together as well. So, which is a great transition to our first point of connection with our guests, which is understanding how you grew up. If you could take a snapshot of a young Tom Rome, pick a school age, second, third grade, where you're riding your bike to the pet shop. Like, what was life like for you as a young kid?
Suburban, Bergen County, New Jersey. Folks born and raised in Queens. So I was in Queens till we were 4. So I have memories of being in Queens, but I didn't go to school there. So I don't have like nursery school friends or anything. But my parents were very young. That is a huge, huge part of my story. I mean, my mother was 20 when I was born in 1975. My dad was 22. So, Robert, I don't think I met you until I was 25. So if you can imagine, right? Think about it.
Imagine you with a kid at 25. Or me. This is not a.
And at that point, they had 2. My brother's only 18 months younger than me. How far apart are you guys? Age? 5 years?
5 years.
Okay, yeah. So different, like an Irish twin kind of thing. And then, I was in New Jersey and in kindergarten, Irish Catholic, culturally, a little bit spiritually, but more culturally. Saw a lot in life. All the traumas and triumphs and tribulations of a life without the internet. A life with landline phones and physical media and baseball cards and riding your bike and like that whole thing. So yes, riding your bike was a huge part of it. Love the summer because I like school, but I didn't like really going to school. You know what I mean? Like I loved.
Sure.
I was good. We were good at. I was a good student and engaged kid. Was polite to my teachers, but I just like doing my own thing. I guess we all do as a human nature, right? But the summer was no school. The summer was the beach and riding the bike and no homework. So I kind of gravitated, and maybe athletically, to baseball more than football. The NFL was on Sundays. Sunday night, that second game, you got to get ready for school. You just shut it down. So football and me never really connected. I had too many Sundays involved. And so I just love baseball anyway. My dad played softball. We played wiffle ball in the backyard. So all of it kind of 50. I've just turned 50. So 50 years later, these things all come back. And so I was a baseball fan. The big leagues, would go to Yankee games.
Yep.
Grew up a Yankee fan. My dad was he was a vendor at Shea Stadium. I don't know if you guys knew that. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
How did he go from being a Mets person?
Also a good question. Because the Mets, I think the way he explains it, by the time I was born, the Mets really sucked. Like it was 73, 74, 75. I'm born. He's like, I grew up with Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, and Casey Stengel. I'm going to make my boys, my son, Yankee fans. He grew up a Yankee fan. The Mets weren't even invented until 62.
Right.
My dad was born in 52. Right. So for 10 years.
Right.
And we just discovered, I showed Robert when we were over there, right, that 8mm film that I had dug out.
That's right.
Yeah. And my dad's like 10 years old at a game against, and there's film of it. And no one saw it because it was in like the bottom of a closet in my aunt's garage.
Wow.
And then we converted the film. And it's like, holy smokes.
You know what? I think that's a really good point. I think when we talk about our childhoods without phones, it doesn't mean they were without media. There were ways to document our lives. And we had Super 8 camera that was shot on Kodak film, that I have film that we processed from our move from Harrison to New York to Eastchester, New York, which would have occurred in 1978. And you're talking about film of your dad at a Yankee game in 1962.
Right. And now I'm running out of space on my current phone. So now there's almost too much. You have everything.
Right.
But anything that had happened or seminal moments, there's, I got in that box of film was my grandmother and grandfather's wedding. Like they were young people, and it's an important day, and someone shot it.
Yeah.
So, I guess that long story short, back to how I'm growing up. I'm growing up a baseball fan in suburban New Jersey. Uh, VHS camera, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, just loving movies and baseball and movies and baseball and pirated cable. So we had access to HBO very young. And the show they had on HBO was Inside the NFL.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with the way I knew it was shot differently. I didn't know why. It was shot on film. The music was
Right.
different. It wasn't the
Right.
highlights on the news. I love Warner Wolf and the birth of ESPN, right? You know what I mean? But
Let's go to the
Let's
video.
go to the
tape.
videotape.
but Inside the NFL wasn't that way. It was John Facenda and the
Right.
frozen tundra and slow motion and the steam coming on and the wide angle lenses, and you just knew and felt it was different. And combine that with a little MTV mixed in there, and so by the time I'm like 13, 14, I'm hitting high school. Like I know what I sink my teeth into, and it's summertime. It's baseball. It's being a rabid Yankee fan. It's Van Halen, MTV videos, and riding a bike and then chasing girls and trying to impress them and trying to make people laugh. So I had access to stand-up comedy. On that same pirated cable was HBO Rodney Dangerfield's Young Comedian Special. Bill Cosby,
Eddie Murphy.
Delirious, right? All that stuff. So, how about this? In a world without phones and the internet, I was plenty bombarded with media. So that's what it was like growing up as a.
But the whole idea of jumping on the bike, where were you riding to, or did it matter?
The baseball card store, just to look at stuff I couldn't afford. Just look at a piece of cardboard. That's $600. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's somebody else's piece of cardboard, but
Yeah.
for some reason I like the border and the color and like why they use that logo, and you just like learn about stuff and whatever. Where else were we riding our bikes to? But also in the woods, like doing jumps and like doing dirt trail BMX.
Yeah.
Or skateboard. I hit the skateboard pretty good. You know what I mean? I went through a period of skateboard.
Yeah.
Lifestyle. And then
What?
going to the music store too. I would go check out drum equipment I couldn't buy, and then I would just try and save some money or whatever.
So I mean that's where your commentary about like media now and the bombardment of the type of media now with the device you showed us is somewhat different. Like you had to go create and make your own entertainment, and you would get on a bike to go. So now you could look at a drum kit kind of like on your phone, or you could look at a baseball card on your phone, but you had to go like physically to the thing.
100%. And to see, a quick fast forward. My freshman year in college was 93, 94. And you would go to the computer lab to write a report, type something up. But then they also had this thing called the internet. And if you hit this blue circle, Netscape would take you to everything, anything.
Right.
I remember like looking at my friend, like, and you could write what? And it's just all the information. And that was, you needed an encyclopedia. You'd have to go to like the record store, a comic book store in the city to see anime. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of unique niche stuff. Now it's it's everywhere. But it was like a physical, like a moment of delineation between the first time you saw the internet and the 15 minutes before that ever happened. And you're right. It's how many cassette tapes did you guys have? How many CDs?
Oh, yeah.
Especially between the two of us.
Oh yeah. It used to be a major piece of how we would choose apartments. Could we have I had these wall racks of CDs, and do I have a wall that's big enough, and
that's right.
If I'm renting the apartment, can I drill a hole big enough to support this rack of?
And it's too much music. You pull down some sheetrock.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. You gotta find a stud.
I bought a drill just to put a to put a 1-inch
Tell me
hole
about
through the wall so I can hang this thing.
Well, where did the drums come from? You mentioned drums and looking at riding your bike to see.
So I I played the snare drum in the 4th grade. Probably because you know, I don't. We all are, or whatever. I don't know what it. They're undiagnosed. ADHD was. They only started calling it that. You're just that kid was that kid. Up, Tommy Rome's kind of. I probably had a something. You know, and then eventually they gave me drumsticks. So um, I got. You can't teach rhythm, and my grandfather, my mom's dad, self-taught himself how to play piano. So that's always been like the family rumor, but no one like I didn't grow up around music. So 4th grade, 1984, I could I played the snare drum in the school band, like elementary school band, and all the boys in my class played drums. So it's like 5 guys. Scott played drums, Bert played drums, Mark played drums, I played the drum, one drum each. Together we were in one drum set. It was just 4 guys on snare drum. And you had to rent a drum. I do my lessons and learn how to not even read music. I don't even remember how to do it.
Paradiddles.
Paradiddle.
Yeah. And the rest sign was a little zigzag. So it's like 1, 2, 3, rest, 1, 2, 3, rest. So I returned the drum when the school year was over, but I somehow I kept the sticks. Like they were by the couch, and so I turned it. The sticks came with the drum, but the drum went back without the sticks. And in our basement of our house is where the cable TV was. So MTV was in the room where I hung out. We had a Papa Shop. It's like a little man caves before man caves. But it was also like cereal bowls, and it wasn't like it was Dave and Buster's. But there was a couch with a pull-out bed, and the cushions on the couch. Like if you look at those 80, the hair metal bands, all were big drum set bands.
Def Leppard.
Right.
Well, you talked about Van Halen. I mean, that
right.
kit that.
If you watch the video for Panama, I don't know when the last time you ever saw it was, but that was just seminal for me because it's number one, shot on film. Number two, it's live concert footage. Number three, there's some wide angle lens usage, right? So it looks even like bigger, like Dave's kicks. Like it's awesome. They're nuts. Like they had that's the one he's on the high wire, and then they tied Eddie by his foot and he's upside down. The drum kits were big. It was shot in Philly. It's insane concert footage, but it's also in like Dave's like driving the car. You know what I mean? And then there's like Alex dressed as like a doctor and he's like in a bathroom. Like, so there's like these little vignettes and all the rock and roll all in one, and the song's Panama. Eddie's blowing smoke rings. Like it's this combination, right? And so, I mean, you see that. I got a pair of drumsticks in my hand. It's just like, look out, couch. Here I come, And really, how many videos did they have? Panama was on like once every half hour. I just did it again. And then like the different songs. Shea, I didn't have any drums. I just had the couch and sticks. But to see it on that screen and look at the couch, I was like, that looks like that.
Yeah.
Do this. And
yeah.
Pretty good. I knew, and I had a little bit, but I was, at that point, really self-taught, just like my grandfather for the drums. I really wish, looking back, it was the piano, the guitar, not the drums. But I like playing the drums, but I don't like setting up, taking down the drums, transporting the drums, playing out with the drums. That's very. If someone else did that for me, I'd be the happiest drummer.
Did you have the same problem with being a cinematographer?
Also true, which is why I changed careers. And I don't play drums as much anymore. It's after a while.
Being a comedian, you bring your thoughts and maybe your sketch pad.
1,000%. And if anybody forgets the words, it's me. And if anybody doesn't know their part, it's me. And if anybody can't make practice, it's me. And I've run into, and if I mess up, no one else is mad at me except me. Not that anyone's really that mad. It's just like being in a band takes the combination of 4 people.
Yeah.
Right. And doing comedy does not.
Or 2 if you're the White Stripes.
Yeah. or if you're in an improv troupe, maybe it's different. But either way, I only carry a drum set for one of those jobs.
Yeah.
And but they do go. I mean, they both have audiences, and they're both about good times. I'm not trying to do deep thought slam poetry. It's usually silly jokes or good songs. The people in the audience usually are drinking. Both. So they have that in common.
What was the point in your childhood, or maybe it was not until college, where you considered entertainment? Because there was for sure a point, right, where you thought,
Well, that probably might have been first, which, I mean, that's what drumming is, to be in a band. To, you know, Panama was a cool video. What was really cool is the way everybody loved Van Halen in that video too. They look cool, but there's crowd in that. Like, it just was being in a band, being on stage, um, being silly enough in class and performing in talent shows, school plays, recreating that Rodney Dangerfield stuff I watched on HBO. I love Bob Nelson. Remember him? He's a comedian who put the two balloons in his shoulders and would do like the college all-star team lineup. And then he'd take the same balloons and put them in his chest and down low. He'd walk around like a grandma, and he did like all these silly voices. And I mean, he pantomimed and did voice. It was like puppetry and comedy and all in one. And he's was my favorite, but he's of many of them at the time. Like, you're talking about when Innocent started and when Dice. You guys remember Dice? Dice sold out the
Sure.
Garden. Do you remember getting the tape? Somebody had the Dice tape at the 8th grade. Like,
right,
that was huge. So, I was always front of the camera ambitious, or stage ambitious, and I was in the school plays through high school. I went to all boys Catholic parochial high school, very competitive athletically. So as much as I love sports, I didn't compete on the high school level. I went in at 5'2", 105 pounds. I was a boy among men. It was a regional high school.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was men on the freshman team. And I was like, sounded like Mickey Mouse. I had a good jumper. So, but I gravitated towards theater because I had a penchant for that anyways.
Yeah.
So I did, theater, and then theater became comedy, and in between doing comedy, I also in the same talent show played with my band. I was the mascot on the football team. We won the state championship that year. We were the Iron Man. I was in the suit of armor. I had a whole suit of armor. But like that, so that's it. Just crowd reacts. Is that word? Atmosphere. Going back to like Yankee Stadium. I loved going in the dark tunnel and walking out and seeing the green grass all lit up. The pageantry of all of that, and all of it has audiences, and for me to perform that way and seek that out. And I remember getting the Village Voice, the actual paper, the Village Voice. I'm like, how do you do comedy in the city?
Yeah.
Go to the back page. And so at this point, to answer your question about high school, college-y, trying to find out, how do you really do this?
Mm-hmm.
And they call bringer shows. And they're like, you feel like the greatest comedian in the world if you bring enough people that'll buy enough food. And I was like, I'm the greatest comedian in the world. And my aunt and uncle and my friends and my parents' friends would all show up. And I'd be terrible, okay at the time, And the clubs were like, this guy's great, because I brought 20 people from Jersey.
Yeah.
It was good enough to keep me
trying.
If I look back, I was atrocious, but I got better. But I got the fever, it was rough. And so at the same time I'm graduating high school, I was in the video club, and like the video club was my dad's VHS camera. Like, there was this. Like,
right.
I was the video club. I brought the camera to school, And so when I was applying to colleges, it was like, production I was afraid of it happens. Not really afraid, but like, to be a performer and not work is insanely demoralizing or frustrating. I found,
Sure.
like I worked in high school scooping ice cream, sweeping up movie theaters with a bow tie on, parking cars, taking out garbage, bar bagging. Um, I didn't want to do that after college.
Right.
And auditioning was so arbitrary. I had done some of that. I even did some child commercial work. I got to find that tape. There's the tape of me somewhere. But so I'd been through the rejection, the callback, almost getting it, and then not getting it. I was like,
Yeah.
it's just a really tough lifestyle. You got to be like, or just keep going so much.
Yes.
You eventually get enough auditions that you can stand to absorb the rejection, because if you're out there enough, you'll get a couple. If you're good enough, you'll get a couple gigs. So I just wanted a technical background. Edit video. Give me that camera. I'll set up the camera. How do I do the tripod? I'll figure that out. Sounds like lighting. I'll do it, and I'll get in front. Everybody laughs. Turn around. Turn it off. Set up the next shot. Turn it on. Then I go around. Turn it. Okay, good. And that's you're good at audio. You get in, and then I was just recruiting people and constantly doing that. And so when I went to college, I applied as a theater major, and as soon as I got there, I was like, it was very theater,
Right.
and it wasn't as technical. And I was like, I like sports TV too much. I like rock and roll too much. And I didn't understand what roadies were. Like, you could do rock and roll theater. Like, you just do concerts. I probably would have been okay, doing that. But I was like, I could still audition. I can still play in the band, and I don't have to be a theater major. I could be a communications major and at least get a regular job in case. So it's the worst. It's like it's Denzel Washington. You ever seen that? He's like, everybody says I got to fall back on acting doesn't work out. I need something to fall back on. And he's like, fall into acting. I'm like, man, that's so powerful. But I'm like, you're Denzel. You fell into act like you're Denzel. I would love to fall into acting the way, you know what I mean? But it would have given up, not given up, but at the expense of Daniel, my cleaning guy's here.
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah.
Santos. He works here. Sorry. That's an inside joke that I just dropped. But no, Tom, look, you worked at Major League Baseball and don't work at Major League Baseball anymore. So this idea that if I had because I do that all the time. Oh, if I'd went and been a broadcaster, if I'd went and been a basketball coach, which is one of the other things that I wanted to do, I had a dream job that every 4 or 5 years I was looking to leave. Right there, it's kind of insane almost to do the same thing for 40 years.
Yes, for anyone. I mean, if you're lucky, you have that. And I thought, in 2004, I thought I had, in 2000, I thought I had a chance at it. In 2001, I was getting better at it. 9/11 happens. The league reacted. Everybody was scared. Then I'm getting better at it. 2002, I'm shooting for Suburban baseball. Like, I'm still freelance. I'm not even hired yet. So to me, that was a dream job. I went from the elevator at Yankee Stadium to meeting Roy Clovis, one of the shooters at Major League Baseball.
Is that the story?
Yeah. So even then, this is after college. So I do the communication. I did the theater on side. I was doing open mics not open mics in the city, but bringer shows in the city. I was auditioning. That Blue Man Group time was there, but I also got a couple jobs, like some YouTube links. I did a Comcast commercial and had a job.
Wow.
Yeah,
all while you're freelancing.
New Jersey Lottery, yeah. ITT Tech. Actually, Kayafa saw me on a commercial in the lunchroom. He was like, "Is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. And but nothing was really happening. Oh, and I was shooting weddings. So I was grinding with the video, and I was like, I got a diploma, but I got penne vodka sauce all over my tuxedo again. I had no life. I was working for a small company that someone else owned, so I wasn't making a ton of money. I had my diploma and all this passion for all this stuff. And so I got to tip my brother, found a lead on this very new thing, the internet, for a Yankee Stadium elevator operator. So I got a part-time job, and I was like, yeah, $75 a game. I was like, all right, it's great, clip on tie, but at least I'm around. I got my diploma, I got some experience. You know what I mean? I just got to meet the right people because I don't want to do weddings anymore. I'll do the stadium. I love the stadium. This will work out great. I just have to meet the right person. And into the elevator walks someone with a Bolex film camera, 16 millimeter, that I shot my student film on, very same camera, at in college. And here's in the elevator. And I'm like, is that a Bolex? So yeah, like fucking film stock. And like boom, boom, the elevator opens. And I was just like, hold the door. And I ran down and I was like,
no way.
Oh, 1,000%. I was like, hey, bro. I was like, hey, not bro. I was like, hey, man, excuse me. And he's with Ben Small, and Roy's just, they're working. And I interrupted them, whatever. But I was like, hey, look, I know you're shooting baseball on a Bolex. Tell me more about what you're doing. Right. Because let's go back to Inside the NFL. I know this is what Sports on Film is, baseball version of Inside the NFL.
Right.
And that was the difference. Their marketing program was not the same, like branding like the NFL. Baseball. I was like, there's baseball film in 1999? Where the hell? It was on Baseball Max a little bit, but you had to be up early. It was on This Week in Baseball. It was before the game. We grew up when Mill Allen was on This Week in Baseball. It was on Saturday, like right with the cereal. I don't know. They moved it around and it changed. But it got me a job because once I figured out this is happening, and I was like, this stuff looks great. And I fell in love with it. Followed, like it's like a cartoon where you could see like the smell of the kitchen, and I was just like the baseball film. I was like, just take me. And the aroma. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, so when I was there, just to when you and I first met, we're like working our way up. What was that ladder at MLB to the point of full-time employment with the league in 2004. So I was like, at that point, that was a mountaintop. Well, it's not the top. It's
just part of the journey.
Yeah, it felt like it, but it was a top. It was a stop.
For some, it is the top, and for others, it's not.
Right, but it was a little bit. It was like a rest, in a sense, career-wise. So I really feel like that for 06, 07 to like 15. That was peak. Because Robert, to his credit, putting us in the field, partnership with Jason Katz, trusting me. People valued me. I was being requested by coworkers to partner with on certain projects. We were winning things contest-wise. It was fun to go to a New York Emmys thing. They're still in my dining room. I got 5 of them. People come over. They're like, oh,
This one detaches.
Yeah.
Soon it'll be in the high school. Trust me. I'm going to bring them in here. They'll be in here someday. But yeah, and then, it became very corporate under a drastic change in leadership. And by that point, this is a DVD. We skipped a couple chapters. I got 3 kids at this point. Blah, blah, blah. 3 kids later. Yes. The camera became a drum set.
Wow. Did you just sew that up?
Is that, yeah. And it was a dream. Exactly. It was a dream job. You described it. There's no way. Like, people say, why would you ever leave that? And the story began, I'm playing wiffle ball in the summer, wanting to almost do that, other than playing.
Right.
Other than playing Major League Baseball. Being a cinematographer, like not even just a video guy. Like, let's make it really cool on the biggest stage. And sometimes you get yelled at by the groundskeeper. You know what I mean? There's some fans gonna spill a beer on you, of course. But there are times where I was like the only person in center field at Busch Stadium pregame, and they're just like towels. You're like, I hope a tiger doesn't come out of the dugout like Gladiator, because this is the same shit. I would have been eaten alive. You know, the chariots going around, like it's the same. It's human history. You know, it's a baseball game, but stadium's a stadium, and or
Yeah.
a ride along. And I was in a blimp. It's in a helicopter 2 times. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is for work. Went to Cuba twice. The first time I went, it was closed. No one could go. You know,
There's no doubt that the experiences that
all it
we were
is.
provided were really foundational to the lives that we live now. They're the memories that connect us, and we have a tremendous alumni group. Shout out to all of our friends and colleagues, right?
That chat, the group chat is great.
The group, but what you're doing now, I want to read you something. And this is from Jim Henson. Kids don't remember what you try to teach them. They remember what you are. And I couldn't think of a better person to be leading and teaching and educating the kids of today because of exactly what you laid out in front of us, which is the feeling that these things give you. You weren't talking about the process and the technical components of your work, which you learned, by the way, but the thing that attracted you to sports was NFL films and the way the story was told. And you have such a great way of sharing your gift and sharing stories that it seems only appropriate that you would then become a teacher.
First things first. I mean, a huge tip of the cap. Um, you know, you using Jim Henson, or referencing. I mean, I'm a Muppet disciple. Like, I'm a Henson. Yeah, I'm a Henson. Like, how about that? If I don't remember much from Queens, when I was first through 4, I definitely remember Sesame Street. I had a plush Kermit. I remember the Muppet Show on Channel 2. I remember what, you know, it was the Dukes of Hazzard, it was the Muppet Show, Dukes of Hazzard. And Dallas, which I didn't show once Dallas came on, I knew. Grandma, your show's on, your program's on.
Your shows.
You know, Dallas. The other one was
Dynasty.
60 Minutes. Or,
Oh, CBS. This is all CBS programming.
Yeah. Right. But that's because it Henson, and so I really appreciate you. I don't know if you knew that about me, but that's like almost tattoo. Like, that's tattoo worthy kind of thing. I reference a similar. There's a similar quote, and I feel like a jerk referencing Maya Angelou, but only because, you know. But respectfully, people don't remember what you say, which I think I'm paraphrase. They'll remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
You know, like, and some people you can remember verbatim, but a lot of people, you won't remember a conversation. You'll just remember the vibe ish. And
Yeah.
if that's what teaching is a lot, I value that, want to maintain that. That's probably the most precious. That's the most precious thing, is in this building that I found. It's a public school, but it's a collection of people that are very passionate about what they do. I think they all. I'm just talking about my colleague. We just had the retirement dinner for 2 colleagues. You know, a shout out to Jeff Panditch and Esther Fletcher. If they ever watch this, they're great. I mean, Esther is particularly close. She's sage personality and right across the hall, and just the right energy. Or a union rep, you know, so really looks out for coworkers in a way that I was not used to. let's just say, you know, um, and it's very comforting. Uh, a lot of people are used to it here. To me, it's new all the time, and you know, but that's what organized labor in the public sector has taught me to appreciate. But uh, same thing, how you make people feel and the impact you have. There's a lot of special education requirements in this building, so there's an extra layer of patience and patient skill building, or whatever the word is, that you know you, one needs to have, one needs to develop, and um, to concern yourself with making sure your vibe is pretty peaceful, or that you remain passionate about what you're doing, that by proxy, just by the nature, that the kids kind of get that and feel safe around you to get the knowledge, then that is a huge component. It has to be. To get in here, you have to get certified. Um, it's just a state program. You have to go to night school, so I did that. And a lot of it's just like, these are the laws of the state, and just kind of housekeeping. But a lot of it's social, emotional, that they put. And that was not just in this building, but I went to William Patterson University for teacher training, and the ideas are similar. My wife's a teacher for 25 years. Yeah, so if you can't beat them, join them, and that's kind of where I got into. Um, but that there's a tech, obviously a technique and a science, and then there's a lot that just interpersonal. But I think that you know my parents ended up getting divorced. Go back to the young people that got married, and they each had a daughter of their own when I was much older. So I became Big Brother 2, the sequel, at 19 and 25 years old. Um, and so as they got older, I was, and when they were babies, I was helping my parents be parents again. So, and not parents to anyone, but parents to like Gen Z or millennial or whatever they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And their daycare life was different. Their bike riding was different. They were helicoptered. It was just complete. But I was like, oh, these are your shows. I know you're watching SpongeBob, but you ever watch Jim Henson? And then like, oh, this is what I grew up on, and oh, Disney, right? I like this too, and now Pixar comes out, but at least we could also watch this other one, and then, oh, I like that Pixar. That's what Disney's doing now, and so learning how to just kind of be present in their life, you know, my parents still connected their 25-year-old son and their newborn as if there were no difference, or their 19-year-old son and their newborn like there was no difference. So I learned a little bit because I was not ready at all on how to talk to kids. Or, I mean, I probably spent too much time in sports bars and fraternity houses to really be around children at that point in my life. But it took that kind of training, you know. And I feel like being a bigger brother at that point in my life, I got comfortable talking to kids because before that I was trying to perfect, you know, bathroom humor jokes on the comedy club level. Uh, Locker room talk, on a locker room talk. And not do that. But then really what happens, then I had my own kids. You learn real quick how to do that. And when they got old enough, I was like, I'll get involved in their life with coaching. And I was like, I'm coaching. This is 12, 15 strangers' kids. Like, I gotta be, on my game. But I kind of knew a little bit because I had training with my sisters, I think.
Yeah.
So I was real comfortable kind of talking because I meet some of their friends, and I could do silly, but I could do big ducky and have the little duckies follow along, when you needed to, and snack time, and to maybe delegate a little bit and be an entertainer, but also a leader. And so it was coaching, and I did that for a long time. And I was coaching and doing MLB and flying home and coaching, flying back out on a shoot, and like emailing the coaches, I'm not gonna make it back. Here's the lineup, but Coach Tom will be back on Saturday. And get there with orange slices and Gatorade. And so coaching, and then I was like, at that point I need a career change, and I was like, um, just to get back to the career change happened. I was like, can you teach them? Right? It checks all the other boxes, but you have to teach. Like I was like, this is great. My schedule will be normal. You know, if I get a school close to my house, I could fix the commute. There's a bell that rings. Okay, all that's great. If I get certified, I'll get a salary. Blah, blah, blah. That's not great. Can you talk to teenagers? Oh, oh, it's, yeah, you know. And so, can you do that and do it in a way that hopefully people like Munir and Robert say the things that they've said so far, and I appreciate that. Every day's not perfect, but um, you don't. You visited here, Rob. I know. You've seen it. You felt the energy, whatever. So I really appreciate you saying that. But um, also for you to acknowledge that in the way that you guys put it into our conversation, kudos to you for recognizing that. I don't think people, or I didn't understand that component to teaching. I understood it. I know my wife has pictures of her students. They stay in touch, Mrs. Rome. Like I know there's a connection there, but you know, um, she's just been doing it for 25 years. A lot of these, to me, those kids they change. I see the pictures. I know that affects her. She goes through the motions, but for me to do it firsthand, there's some emotional investment there and a responsibility. Even if you don't, invest too much, you have to, create an energy and do a good job. And I've been very, very fortunate. Not every school is like this. So
Amazing.
it's my duty, really, to be like, to try to do that, to try and impact people that way. It's my duty.
What are 3 things that you would tell some of these young people about embracing the creativity and being able to embark on the journey that you have? What are 3 kind of words of advice?
Do it. Just whatever it is, Nike, just do it. Just do it. Um, you know, you can do it. You have it. You know,
It's accessible, isn't it?
there's a stabilizer in there. If you know what an f stop is, you can. You know what I mean? Like,
See, we told you he could talk technical.
right. But that's to do it. So, it's funny. I find it. I have it in common with a couple of the kids. They're like, I don't know where they get it. You just kind of pick it up, right? Um, you'll say close up, you'll say medium shot. Some kids don't know it, but then they'll get it. And some kids are like, oh yeah. Like, who taught you that? I'm like, I don't know, but I think I just kind of got it. Whether it was from science class or I just saw an episode of Phineas and Ferb where they did behind the scenes and the kid just remembered it, or you know what I mean? Like it's gonna pop up somewhere. Oh, it's caught a TikTok, and then so they're gonna know some things, and sometimes you're savvy with that, like, and then sometimes you're like, oh, that's how they did it, So just do it. Just try. You got to try. Um, I love this one. I guess number 2. So do it or try slash do it. So I'll give you 4. Number 2 is I love this one. Do you know what they call the person who graduates last in medical school? Doctor.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So just, it doesn't, I have kids, we offer certification for Adobe softwares. You and I know we edited. If you can tell a good story, they don't care how you do it. I'm sure you got to respect the media, know ins and outs. And if somebody's going to come in and kind of, frame, some producer, you got to know how to get around. So you need to know the software, whatever they're using. So we offer these tests, and that we don't. Where I work, they didn't ask that you pass that test, but in high school, that's a challenge. We're going to try and pass that test. When I first got here, I was on my first. It was Zoom because it was COVID. And so I had like back to school night, my first back to school night. I've been back to school. I only just started school like 3 weeks before. They're like, back to school night, Mr. Rome. I'm like, it's called career change night. I don't, so I'm on Zoom and they're like, I'm going to do certifications. And, I'm like, so one of the moms like clicks on like, Mr. Rome, are you certified? And I was like, oh, no. But I'm working on it. And I was like, post-it note, get certified. Like, I cannot answer that question with no again. So I did it by learning how to do the test. I learned how to, teach the kids how to do the test.
Right.
But I have a lot of kids that are afraid of failing or afraid their score isn't as good as their classmate. You know what I mean? Passing is 700. But Mr. Robe, I don't want to take the test because I'm going to get a 730 when, Logan got an 853. Like, just get certified. I had kids certified with 701. That kid gets to put certified on their portfolio.
Right.
With a 701. The kid who didn't take the test, scared of a 701, looking for an 853, you got to try. So
there comes back to try. All right, what's number 3?
Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up. That's number 3. Keep it short.
I'm getting this from the producer.
Yeah. I'll show you this camera or my notes app. Write it down. Write it down. There's a notes app, something like.
Speaking of writing things down,
hey.
What is on your mixtape, Tom Rome?
Right, my mixtape.
Songs that remind you of high school, to be clear.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a couple of different beverages there, I've noticed.
Yeah, there's usually a smoothie. Like it's a teacher lifestyle.
Hey,
it's
Tom,
like your drums. It's like your drums.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Wrap it up. Okay. Yeah. Jump Around, House of Pain. Yeah.
Great.
Remember, another great video.
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day Parade. But in the dirty, gritty.
Right.
When those trumpets hit in the beginning, whatever the big marching band sound. Two Princes, Spin Doctors.
Oh yeah.
First concert.
Oh really?
This guy first concert, and then saw him at Wellmont last year.
Oh cool. Very hacky sack to me. You know what I mean? And I love the part in that song where they break out that there's no guitar and no bass, and it's just that drum kick, and he's just kind of riding that snare, and it's not a complicated beat, but it's fun lyrics. And then the grand finale, the Divinals, I Touch Myself. I think that is
over.
We forget that song. We forget that song, the guts of that song, and then the artistry and the delivery of that message. And it was also before, like, again, social media. It was like, bro, did you hear this song? Dude, what? And
I always pair that with Four Non Blondes, which I probably should have.
If you gave me 4, that was the next one. And again, these aren't my favorite. They're not my favorite songs, right? They're just,
of course,
right.
You followed the brief. You followed the brief.
A throwback, just like boom, yes, like,
Tom, you're the man. Thank you.
No, you guys are.
I'm gonna share mine real quick, and then Munir is gonna share his.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. This was super hard, but I'm gonna go with Boys to Men, End of the Road, 1991. That is a classic. Blind Melon, No Rain.
Yeah.
1992. And then this is between 3. I have to go with A Tribe Called Quest scenario. Also 1991, but
here we go,
yeah, there's so many. Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison, Color Me Bad, I Want to Sex You Up. Anyway, you get the point.
Abdul stuff.
Munir?
That's nice.
Smoking in the Boys' Room, Brownsville Station, 1973. Because, hey, My Philosophy, Boogie Down Productions.
Oh.
And Glory Days, Bruce Springsteen,
Wow.
because 1984, that was big, and that was around about the high school time, and everybody was going to that concert. 86, that concert. I have to mic drop right now.
Bye.
Bye.